everybody. Hey there. My name is Kristen Binford. I am a wedding venue owner myself and a business coach to hundreds of venue owners around the country and a few around the world. So today we have a very special guest with us. My friend Suzanne is here with us today. I'm going to let her introduce herself in just a minute. But if you are watching this video the first time we debut it, go ahead and comment #live in the comments. If you watch it later, go ahead and comment #replay. All right, my friend, say hello. Tell us where you're at. Tell us a little bit about your venue.
Well, hey, everybody. I am just extremely honored to be, with you guys today. This is really pretty exciting. Our venue is called El Sueño, which is Spanish for the dream. And we are located right outside Ruidoso, New Mexico, in the mountains. And we have been open. Our first wedding was July 2021. And so we have not been open for very long. And we're just super excited at the way things are going. It's going really well.
Tell us about your head count. Tell us about what you love about the venue and being in the business.
Okay. Well, actually, I think because of my age, one of the things I really like is I call them kids that, come to tour our venue or book our venue. They really feel like my kids, and I think sometimes they look at me kind of like a mom figure. Well, because they're about the same age as my own children. And so I really like that. I like being able to talk a bride off the ledge. I find the challenges, it's fun to work through them because you're going to have them, every time anyway. But I love that part. Our head count, we do the small micro weddings, but the average wedding for us is probably 80 to 100 people. Our max is 150. And I tell them that's all the chairs I have. And so ultimately they will say, well, does that count children? Well, if they need a chair, they need to be in the count. So, but most of our weddings are held outside. We have not had to have one inside yet because of weather, but we do have, a way to do that if we have to. But it's been a real fun ride. And when we bought, this is our home. And when we bought this house, we were going to be a B&B. And we thought, oh, it's a perfect setup for a B&B. And it didn't take me a real long time to think $200 a night. And I have to cook and clean and visit. And it was a lot of work. And so we did it about 5 times. And then people kept coming over. This was during COVID. We had people coming over, but they would say, oh my gosh, look at the view out both the front and the back. Have you thought about being a wedding venue? Well, no, we hadn't. And so the thought of it just the idea took root. And so, that's, kind of what we built on was that. And I love it. My background was technical writing, which is probably one of the most boring professions on the planet. And I'm loving this because I have a pretty outgoing personality. And this just fits, with me.
Oh, so much fun. You are such a blessing and a joy. I didn't know you were in the technical writing field before. I agree. This is a match for you so much more, I think, than that is. So I love it, my friend. I love it. So I'm curious. So you said July 21 was when you got into the business, or that's when your first wedding was?
That's when our first wedding was. We met you. I think I found you on one of the Facebook pages, and then, submitted my name for consideration and for the venue accelerator. And then I took that over the Christmas holidays and early January of late 20, early 21. Okay. And so I did not have anything. I mean, we were still in the process of all of our redecorating and construction in the house and everything during that. And it was, I remember one of the biggest challenges I had, and you had a great suggestion for it, was to do a rendering of what it was going to look like on the outside, because I felt funny about showing people the property and saying, well, this is going to be there and this is going to be there. But the rendering helped a lot with that because people could visualize that then. But anyway, so that's when I took the class. And then I booked that first wedding probably within 2 months of finishing because I followed all your directions.
Yeah, you were ready to open your doors. Absolutely. And that was something that I remember in the very beginning, you were like, Kristen, I don't know. I'm new to all of this. How do I make these decisions? What's important in this business? I love it. What,
Exactly.
I'm curious, what, when you think back to when you booked that first wedding, like, I don't know, tell me about that. As someone who didn't plan to get into the wedding industry and now you're opening a wedding venue and now you've booked your first wedding, like, what did that feel like? I'm just curious.
It was pretty scary. It really was. And actually, I wore my Fitbit that day, the very first wedding, and I did 28,000 steps in a day. I wanted it to be, I know you don't use the word perfect, but I wanted it to be as close to that as I could get it. And I really worked my tail off to make sure I was ready for, anything that could happen. But I loved the bride. She walked in and she said, well, we're going to have to put the timeline on hold. And I said, well, how come? And she said, because she was marrying a guy who's a horse trainer, and we have a horse track here, and that's our racing season, is the summer. And he had a horse in the last race, which wasn't until 5:30. The wedding was supposed to be at 5:30. So by the time he could get here, it was 6:30, and he was bringing the preacher. But what was so cool about it was she was so calm and cool and collected that it helped me. I was like, wow, this is the most chill bride. And, I loved that about her. And she was just real easygoing, and it was real fun. And of course we learned a lot. We learned something at every wedding, but we learned a lot that day. And, but it was really fun. And I was hooked, there was just no turning back at that point.
I think what you just said there is really important too. So, what for everybody in the room, I just want to remind you, she said, I learned something at every wedding. And that's still true. I think one of the misconceptions, especially for new venue owners, is feeling like, oh, I'm going to get 5 or 10 weddings in and then I'm going to have it down. And 600 or 700 weddings later, we still learn something new. You know what I mean? So
right.
This is definitely a game of continuous learning for sure. So, okay. So your first wedding, you attracted your ideal client. What a great just first experience to get to have, right? So super happy for you, because I think part of the reason why so many venue owners can still have joy in this business is because we attract really great couples that we love to serve. And you definitely have a heart for service.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's, and my husband is real good too. He is so helpful during everything. We don't have any staff, so it's just the two of us, and we, set up all the chairs. He even developed this tool because he is way more OCD than I am. And it's a tool to help us set our chairs up in a very straight formation.
Perfect. Oh, nice.
I'm like, really, honey? And he said, come on, it means everything to the bride and it's going to look great in the picture. So we use that tool to set up all of our chairs outside. I want to get to a point where, like Haw Valley, you guys have the benches already in. I just, we're just not there yet. That's down the road. But for now we're setting up tables and chairs, and he's so supportive and so good. And he works full time too. So this is kind of a part-time thing for him, but it's my full-time gig. So, it's been really wonderful to pull us together too. So
fun. And I tell you what, like I celebrate you for that, really, because I think that so often people think about the glamorous side of this business, right? And the fun things, but also
we're checking toilets.
I know, right? But you're also in business together, and your spouses.
Right.
And it's really easy to bring that home, and you guys are just it's such a blessing and such a great story that you're still having fun into it. I am several years into it, so that's great. So, okay. So when we met, you had never booked a wedding. I remember those early conversations, right? Lots of kind of 101 kind of questions, and you've come so far since then. Let's celebrate that. So you've come so far since then. Tell us about where you're at in the business right now. What can you find to celebrate today about the business?
Well, actually, I started a class. I'm pretty excited about it. And I don't know if you remember this, but I was so daunted by technology in the beginning. I was okay with the website part. That was okay. But boy, it took me forever to find that Facebook, the thing you have to connect to Facebook so that it gives you your rate. That's it. Yeah. That was such a challenge for me. But I did this video that was a collection of pictures from different weddings that we've had. And I've been running it as an ad for about 3 months now. And the lowest click-through rate I've had has been 6.0%. It is rocking, and I'm getting lots and lots of hits, and I'm getting a lot of hits to my website and all of that kind of stuff. So
Look at you,
that to
my
me,
friend. That's
that's just
growth and
such,
stretching
you
right
know,
there.
I have really come a long way.
I love it. Okay, so I have to
People
ask.
skills, it's not technical.
So I saw it on Facebook last week. So for anybody who doesn't know, I'm a big believer in celebration. So you had a celebration that you shared on Facebook last week. Do you remember what I'm talking about in terms of your
What was it?
number of bookings you
I
had?
booked, yeah, I booked 6 weddings in a week.
That's awesome.
And the week before that, I had 5 tours on a weekend, and a virtual tour as well. But I mean, people just kept sending me notes. Yeah, we've decided we definitely want you. And we we kind of started something new, which has been kind of fun and interesting to see how different people handle it. When they come in, I want them to stand in our big room where we have an 1890s bar that's 23 feet long. And I want people to breathe it in and get the feel for that room, because it's either your style or it's not.
Sure.
And so I want to give them a minute to do that. And so what we have started doing, this was my husband's idea, is we offer them a glass of champagne. And so, they take it or they don't, whatever they want to, but it gives me time to have them standing in the room while I'm fiddling with the bottle of champagne or whatever. And then I start telling them about the room and the history and all of that kind of stuff. But that's been, I think, kind of a game changer, because suddenly I'm putting people at ease. I'm becoming the hostess, and that's kind of right up my alley. And that's really just kind of my personality. We entertain all the time. So it's really just fit in. And I probably need to offer some non-alcoholic options as well. Can I get you a champagne or a Coke or whatever? Because it would have the same effect.
Yeah.
So
I love it. So one of the things we talked about before we hopped on the air here is that there is no one thing, right? But what I love about what Susanne just shared is that she's getting to be herself, right? And so often when I talk to venue owners, I hear, "Oh, Kristen, I'm not a salesperson. I've got to be a better salesperson. I got to learn to close." And I just don't think that's true. And I think you're absolutely evidence of the fact that you don't have to be somebody who you're not, or pretend to be someone. Listen, I am a true believer. If you pretend to be someone who you're not in a tour, 8, 12, 24 months from now, you can't keep that up. That's exhausting, right? So being able to be yourself on the tour is really important. But I'm curious, how many weddings, what's your tour to booking ratio right now?
It's kind of in between. It's moving up. I was at 50%, and I think the last time I checked, I was at 75. So I just did this tool that calculates it for me. So I don't even have to calculate anything. It does it automatically. I just put the information in, and if they book and I put yes, it tells me, what my percentage is. So that's kind of fun.
I love it. Listen, we all only have, I think it's 168 hours a week, right? And so how we spend our time is so important. And so if you're booking 1 out of 10 tours, 2, 3 out of 10 tours, Susanne is booking 7.5 out of 10 tours, right? That's talking about really spending your time wisely. Great job, my friend. So good. Let me ask you this. So when you think back to kind of that point when you first talked to our team and deciding whether to dive in with us about into the Venue Accelerator, excuse me. If you were talking to someone, I hear this all the time. "Oh, Kristen, I've been in your Facebook group for years. I've been following you online for years," right? What advice would you give to someone who was sitting in that same spot and maybe being a wallflower about reaching out?
That's so easy. Just do it. Just do it. I learned so much from your class, and I mean, I knew nothing. So, I was starting completely from scratch, and I didn't know anything. And there are a lot of people hanging out there that could learn so much more than they already know if they would go ahead and, dive in. And I'm amazed at the stuff that keeps coming back up in my head. Oh yeah, Kristen said to do this. That's right. Okay. And, and that's been real helpful for me, because I've taken the advice that fits my personality and my style. And I learned all that technology, which did not fit my personality and my style. But I learned from it, and I am getting constantly better at it. And so many people have said to me, "Oh my gosh, your website is so amazing. I cannot believe how much information you have on there that nobody else has." And that's very true. There are a lot of people that they keep it cloak and dagger. My husband and I went to wedding expo last year as guests of the people who throw it, because they wanted to convince us to do that, which we did it this year, and we booked 2 weddings out of it. That was 3 weeks ago. Booked 2 of the weddings. But we walked around, and I picked up a card at every venue owner's booth, and I looked them up when I got home, and none of them had anywhere near the transparency. And, that was some great advice I would have never come up with. And, I can't believe anybody would be in this business and not jump into this class. I mean, it just makes sense, because you'll learn.
Well, hey, before anybody runs to her website and checks it out and tries to do exactly what she's done, I just want to let you know, I just want to remind you that your website is simply a visual representation of a lot of important strategic decisions that you have to make in the business to be successful in this business. So I want to celebrate you for walking through that journey, making those decisions. It's not just your website, right? Think of all of the work you did before you got to the website for that to be possible. But I say that just to caveat or footnote that far too often, I think this industry creates friction for couples. So what you've done here is take friction out of the process for couples, make it really easy for couples to want to book your venue because they actually understand your value. They get to see your heart. It's a match between the business decisions you've made, your website, your tour, and then the experience they get to have with you, right? So great job, my friend. So proud of you. You have an audience.
It's been a fun ride.
You have an audience of venue owners here with you. Is there anything, if someone is thinking about opening a venue, or maybe they've been in the business for a couple of years, not necessarily specific to our work together, but just anything you would like to share with other venue owners that you think would be interesting, or a tidbit or fact about you or your space we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, I think one of the things that has been really eye-opening for me is to learn from other venue owners, which this is such a great group of people. And I follow a number of people that I took the Venue Accelerator class with. So, there's lots to be learned from just our peer group, I think. Yeah. And, don't overlook that, because they've got great ideas.
Absolutely. And listen, this business and this industry, I think one of the things that's great is that we can have relationships. We can have community among one another. And for anybody who's listening, if you're not feeling that in your local area, it's tough. It's tricky to do sometimes in your own local area. I think that's one of the reasons why so many people find value in the graduates group of the Venue Accelerators, just getting to be with and be in community with other amazing venue owners. I always joke with folks, but it's true. I don't work with jerks. So you got to be good people. You got to be good people and want to do right by your couples and be a value add to the community to get to participate with us in the Venue Accelerator. So you are certainly that in spades, my friend. I'm so proud of you. I'm so thankful for you coming in here with us today. Let me just quickly wrap up here. So thanks everybody for joining us in this amazing interview. If you have questions, you're welcome to go ahead and comment those below. We'll try to pay attention to the questions in the comments below. I highly suggest that you give Suzanne here a high five or a thumbs up in the comments. She did a great job on this video today. And sometimes it's a little scary to come on video and do one of these. So thank you for that. I also just want to remind you that if you have not reached out to our team, if you have been lurking somewhere in the distance, right, somewhere in the group or the online community, and you haven't booked a call with our team, KristenBinford.com/accelerator is how you book a call. And sometimes you just have to get outside your comfort zone and do it, right, my friend?
That's right.
All right, everybody. We will see you in another future video. Thank you so much. #live if you were here watching the first time we debuted, and #replay if you see this later. See you in another one. Bye now.